Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video we're going to do something a little interesting. If you've watched my Debian 13 video series, thank you very much. If you haven't, shame on you. I'm just kidding, but shame on you. I am going to leave a link to that in the description, in a pinned comment below, so you can walk through that. However, the purpose of this video is just in case you've gone through that entire playlist and you like what you see when it comes to Debian, but you found the Debian installer a little intimidating, or if you've never installed Debian before and you just want a really easy way of installing it, we are going to look at that today. There is a few extra installation options when it comes to Debian. You don't have to just download the net installer and use what they give you. There are a few other things. One of those is a live CD that uses the Calamares installer, and that's what we're going to look at today. Let's go ahead and get our Firefox open. To do this, all I did is I just plugged my USB thumb drive in, and we will just go ahead and burn that and then reboot, and we will look at the Calamares. The interesting thing about this is I've never actually installed Debian this way. So you and I are going to discover it together, which is going to be fun. So without further ado, let's go to Debian and I'll show you how to get that installer. Okay, so from the Debian homepage, debian.org, what we're going to do is, instead of clicking this big obnoxious download button, which has a funny backstory to that I'll save for another time, we're going to click this other downloads link that's right underneath the button, and this up here tells you that the current installation media is 13.4, which is the current stable version of Debian. There are ISO images you can get for testing, which is another video that I'm going to be making soon, that we will use out of there. Today though, we're just doing this try Debian live. Before you install it, it uses the Calamares installer, and you get a live version of GNOME, XFCE, KDE, and then other. Right now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on this KDE, because I think that the KDE is what I'm using here, and in my humble opinion, KDE Plasma 6 is probably the closest thing to Windows 10 a Linux user can have. So we're going to go ahead and let this download. Looks like it's going to take a couple minutes, so I am going to go ahead and pause the video here, and when that's done we'll continue. So give us just a second. Alright, so now that we've got that done, we've just got the ISO downloaded. If you don't know how to burn these ISO images, especially from Windows going to Linux, I do have a video on how to use Rufus in order to do that. But anyway, so we won't go into that here. What I'm going to do though is, I forget where it's at, but it's called disks. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to open this up. This is actually a GDK tool or GNOME tool, which can coexist inside Qt or KDE environments. So anyway, I'm going to click these three dots up here. Well, let me back up a little bit. First of all, you have to plug your USB in. Make sure there's nothing on it that you want to keep, because this does destroy any data that's currently on the disk. So anyway, I'm just going to highlight my 32 gig thumb drive here, and I'm going to click these three dots, go down to restore disk image, and then I'm going to choose that ISO file I just downloaded, and I click open. This information up here just says that the drive is much bigger than the image that I downloaded, and that's fine. It's just giving us some information. It's not a warning. It's not an error. It's just saying, hey, your drive's really big. So anyway, we're just going to go ahead and click Start Restoring. Wow. And as it says right here, all existing data will be lost. So if there is something on there, like I said, go ahead and back it up if you need to. Get our restore started. And of course, we need our password, our super secret password. And this says it's going to take about 5 minutes to finish. This does actually depend on what size the ISO file is that you're installing. Like a net boot version is going to burn a lot faster than say an uber-sized ISO. So anyway, for this next 5 minutes or so, we're just going to go ahead and pause the video and let that go through. Okay, so now that that is done, basically what we are going to do from here is we will go ahead and close this out. And before I go any further, what I want to do is I want to show you that we are indeed on Debian 14, also known as Forky or SID. We are in a testing version of this operating system. When we reboot, we're actually going to take a step backwards. So we will be installing, instead of Debian 14, which is what I have here, we will be installing the current stable version, Debian 13, using the Calamares installer. So let's go ahead and reboot and get started with that. I'm going to restart here, and when our BIOS says so, we will go ahead and enter the one-time boot menu on my computer. This computer here, that's hitting F12. On your computer, it might be different. You may have to hit F9, F8, F10, delete, escape, F1, F2. It really depends on the manufacturer of your computer. So it's one of those. You may have to do some research. So I'm going to go ahead and boot off of that USB drive. And what we're going to do is look at the options we have here. As you can tell in the lower right hand part of the screen, it is indeed Debian 13. And we have a couple different options. The live system with the second one is with fail-safe mode. This is usually if you have a graphics card that's not agreeing with the system. You can start the installer, or you can do it with speech synthesis. And then there's of course advanced options and utilities that we're not going to cover today. We're just going to go ahead and boot into the live system and let it boot up here. And like I said, I have not installed Debian using the Calamares installer. I have no clue what this even looks like, so we're discovering this together. But Calamares is pretty easy. It's one of the installers that Type 1 distributions like to use. Or basically click through kind of thing. As soon as it loads. It's one of the bad things about booting off of a live USB is it usually takes longer to actually get this booted up than normal. We'll give it another second or so. Or we're going to do that again. Okay. Well, we'll give it a second here to get to the desktop or to the installer, and if not, we'll pause. Okay, I have a banner on my screen saying this is out of range. It looks like what's happening is the installer or the installed system is wanting to, yep, right there, refresh rate. That needs to change to 60 hertz. And get out of my way. And then we'll go ahead and click apply. That's going to flash a second, and then that refresh rate should be fixed. So I don't see that out of range banner anymore that you've never seen. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click skip on this to close that welcome center down. That's no different than in the regular installer after it's been installed. However, what we did is we booted into a live environment just like you would if you were installing Ubuntu or Kubuntu or Linux Mint or Fedora or any of those other Type 1 distributions. This basically has the look and feel of a Type 1 install, even though it's a Type 2 distribution. If you're not familiar with what I mean by Type 1 and Type 2, I do have a video. I will put a link to that in the pinned comment as well, as to my typing system. As far as I know, I'm the only one that uses this typing system because I kind of created it for myself for the channel to help, describe the different types of distributions. So you have Type 1, which is the easy ones. Those are the ones that new users are highly encouraged to use. You go through a point and click installer. After you reboot, you really don't have to do anything other than just start using the system, and the system usually takes care of itself. It's very beginner friendly, that kind of thing. Type 2s are a little more advanced, but anyway, I'll leave a pinned comment to that. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure we click American English, click next. We pick our time zone, and then we click next, our keyboard, and click next. And on this here, there's only one drive, so we're going to make sure that's selected. If you have, excuse me, If you have multiple drives, make sure you select the one that you want to install on. And in this case, I'm not going to install alongside the other. I'm really not even going to replace it. I want to wipe it out completely clean and then go from there. And then I'll go ahead and click next. On here, we will put our name. And we like to use the username LTL. And this is going to be, we'll just do Debian. That's cool. I am going to put my super secret password in. And for ease of use, I'm going to go ahead and put this check mark here in this box here. What this is going to do is you're not going to be challenged to you put in your password every single time you reboot. It's just going to boot straight to the desktop. I do not recommend doing this in any kind of corporate or any kind of environment to where there's multiple users walking around. But this is perfectly acceptable if you don't mind sharing your computer with your housemates, whether there's your spouse, children, or roommates, or what have you. This is basically for home users. I personally live alone. I'm the only one here. Obviously, I don't need to put in my password every time I log in. So I'm going to click next. And I'm just going to, this is just a summary. It tells you what it's doing, the keyboard layout, how it looks now, what it's going to look like afterwards, and a terse set of instructions that it's going to follow. And then you just click install. And it's just going to install, just like any other Type 1 distribution does. Watching progress bars are boring, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here. Okay, so after the progress bar is done, you end up with the screen here. You can take this check mark out of reboot now, then click done. That allows you to continue to test, continue to use Debian in its live environment. Leaving the check mark in there, you go ahead and click done, and it'll go ahead and reboot. When it reboots, it should come back to the login screen if you did not put a check mark in that box telling it to automatically log in for you. If you followed my instructions the way I did it, you would end up back on your desktop as soon as it decides to finish rebooting. Sorry, this is the part where I'm the most impatient, is waiting for computers to reboot. All right, just to save time, I'm going to go ahead and push pause. If it takes a little longer, I'll tell you what happened. So hold on. Okay, there we go. Finally came back. So I went ahead and just hit enter. Let it boot up like it's normally supposed to. I assume it took a second because it was the first time it was booting up. It has to create all the user files and everything like that. All right, so after install, this says it's out of range again. So let me go ahead and change my display back. Yep. And that might have something to do with the way I capture the video on here too. That might be playing into it as well, because it's not a straight through record kind of thing. So anyway, that is the easiest way to install Debian stable. Let me change this menu around because I do not like that other default menu. System Info Center. And as you can tell, we are indeed on Debian 13 now. We are not on Forky. You can tell by the kernel we're back to Debian 13. So that is that. The easiest way to install Debian. What I can say though is and I'll go deeper into this in a different video, but we have become eligible for monetization as far as memberships go, and those are currently active. You can leave supers, you can go ahead and join the community as a small token. If you've received anything of value from any of the videos, this is a small way of saying thank you. And it's currently a work in progress right now. It just has the YouTube defaults on there. I am looking at expanding that out a little bit. Of course, this is optional, but it is also greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that said, if you like these videos, you'd like to see more, make sure you click like and subscribe.